Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Smash Chat. Today we have with me Brawlmaster012.
Hey guys.
And Raven King Sage.
Heyo.
We were going to try and have WeDo join us, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make the cut this time due to time constraints. DLC.
He got cut.
Yeah, hopefully cut. DLC. There's a lot to go over this time, but first and foremost, because it's recent news, we have to go over the alleged rumored, or not really rumored characters, but I mean, the sounds are there. From all different hackers and all different data dumps, people have been claiming on this. It's there, it's legit. Sound files for both Roy from Fire Emblem and Ryu from Street Fighter? Really? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay then.
Fairly undeniable that these sound bites are legit, and what I'm wondering, along with everybody else, is what does this mean? Does this mean that the fighters are going to become DLC themselves in the future? Because these sound files were not in the game's data until the Mewtwo patch, which really strikes me as odd, but, the question is why? Does it just mean that they were planned, but they were eventually scrapped and the sound files were left there for some reason? Does it mean that they're actually going to be announced soon? Are they going to be announced at E3?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is why they would show up now is that maybe after they got further along with, Mewtwo and Lucas and everything, that they were planning ahead and working on these guys too, which makes me think, okay, well, if you've got other DLC characters, then what's with the Smash Ballot thing? I mean, there's just there's a lot of this that doesn't really make sense to me.
Oh, we'll get to the Smash Ballot in a little bit, but going back to this, I mean, it almost feels like it's their placeholders that they didn't think that anybody would find, but come on. There are so many people out there who dig through this stuff. They live for this stuff. Did you really think you could put them in and not?
You underestimate the internet.
They knew they know that the leaks broke out months before the release of the 3DS version. So I don't know if they really thought that people weren't going to find these things. My question is, why? Are you really that deaf, blind, and dumb to the fandom? Because there are people who do this kind of thing, and I would think that they'd be self-aware about it, which makes me lean a little bit more towards they were planned, but maybe they were scrapped, or maybe progress was made, but then it stopped for whatever reason. And I don't know. I think obviously it's too early to draw any major conclusions, to draw any decisive conclusions, but we'll see. If this is a thing and they are actually going to become fighters and they'll go through with it, I'm betting on an E3 announcement.
That's what a lot of us are now going for, because we all thought Wolf was going to be announced next to coincide with the announcement of Star Fox on the Wii U, but then I started thinking, you know what, that makes too much sense. So they're going to throw something else at us.
Oh, actually, speaking of Wolf, he's actually the second most missed character in Japan alongside Lucas, but maybe we'll bring that up when we talk about the ballot.
Yeah, we'll bring that up later. Okay, but how do you feel? If these two characters were to get in, how do you feel about them? Because personally, on my account, I was thinking, yeah, do we really need a second Marth clone? And then I remembered, hey, it's just DLC. I don't need these. I guess it's just for the fans who really wanted Roy back, and he's a clone, so it doesn't take that much time to really work through, so it doesn't seem like you're losing anything by putting Roy back in. With Ryu, on the other hand, a whole bunch of doors of opportunities just opened up, and speculation is going to skyrocket now.
Oh yeah, I honestly get pretty nervous when we get breaking news on anything third-party related for Smash Brothers, because that third-party speculation in Smash Brothers is just Wild West frontier of craziness, because there are so many ideas to discuss. And with Ryu, I find it an especially odd case because he's a character who originated in another fighting game. And as I recall, I would have to do a lot of digging to find this, but I
found
think it was said at some point that...
No, you don't have to try. I already have it. I bookmarked it years ago because I was going to use this for when people were going to say that they wanted like a Tekken or a Soul Calibur fighter in Smash, and I was going to say Sakurai said no, and now I'm using it because Sakurai contradicts himself all the time.
He changes his mind. People change their minds. He changed his mind about Villager, remember? In that one 2008 interview with Nintendo Power, he said, nah, Animal Crossing's too peaceful for Smash. Now look, we got Villager.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I feel like if Sakurai says anything, he's gonna do the opposite. He's basically lying. Like he made it. It made it sound like Mewtwo was gonna be the last character, and then as soon as he's coming out, nope, we're working on Lucas too. So I can't trust this guy anymore.
And he even said DLC wouldn't be in the cards, but they straight out called it DLC in the direct. Yeah, we're putting downloadable content in this game. Here's Mewtwo and Lucas.
Fool me once.
Fingers crossed that he changes his mind for Ridley, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, I was just about to say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, Ridley confirmed.
Exactly. Please put this on a T-shirt.
I want that to be a meme. That needs to be a meme. But I would kind of agree with the sentiment that characters from other fighting games I can't see that for the Smash Brothers universe. Maybe I'm just unimaginative.
No, I think it just seems weird. Like fighting games, traditional fighting games, and then you have Smash, which isn't a traditional fighting game in the slightest bit of sense at all. I don't think that they can't work. It just seems weird.
It's so far removed from traditional fighting games. You know, you have how do I word this? Ryu traditionally works in the traditional 2D fighting plane that doesn't have near as much like free movement as 2D fighting plane on Smash Brothers does. Like, how do you work with that? That's so weird.
It's like they're almost trying to put in a character to appeal to the hardcore fighting game fans, but there are fans out there that aren't really into Smash because they feel it's not really technically competitive enough. So they would think it's kind of weird that Ryu would be in it and that he wouldn't really play like he does in Street Fighter.
Also, on top of that, this would be the first time that any third-party company represented in Smash Brothers gets two characters in. Because, we got Ryu and Mega Man.
That kind of bothers me a little bit.
Actually, I'm all for that because I would love to see other characters get in, like Klonoa or Lloyd Irving. I'd love to see another Sonic or Bayonetta or a Knights character. I'd be way okay with this because then, you could have Snake come back and then I could get Bomberman, but, we'll get there later.
But, I honestly don't want third-party companies to get more than one character because this is, at its core, a Nintendo game, and Sakurai has made it very, very clear that third-party presence is to be as limited as possible.
Fool me once, shame on you.
But okay,
twice.
but I don't. Okay, I know, but
I know it just seems weird. But I'm trying to look at all the positives that could come from this. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. The fandom at large kind of agrees with that. I know I do. This is a Nintendo game. Like, everyone knows that it's a Nintendo game at its core, right?
Right, but I feel like if it's a character who's had a long history with Nintendo, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I just feel that it's too early to be adding more than one character from one company if there are other companies that still don't have a character yet. Like, if we still, we don't have a Konami rep this time around. I mean, if we got Snake back or if we got Bomberman or something, if we get to the point where we're adding more, Sega characters or more Capcom characters, well, that's great for those companies, but there are still other companies that aren't really being represented with a character yet, so...
I'll take Rayman before I take another Capcom character.
Yeah, I honestly would too, and I'm not just saying that because I have a friend who's, obsessed with Rayman and wants him in as badly as I wanted Mewtwo.
I'm overall indifferent to Rayman, but I think he'd be cool. I like Rayman Legends.
I can see the potential behind him.
And with that, I think it's about time for us to finally move on to the Smash Ballot.
Oh boy, Nintendo, you have no idea what you've done. All the ballots for Goku and Shrek.
Okay,
that brings me to my first issue with the ballots. They didn't even say on the ballots, please no characters that didn't originate in a video game, and please no characters that didn't appear on a Nintendo console.
That was one of my biggest problems with this too, because they're not being clear. It just said vote for a video game character.
They're being vague as always, as Nintendo always does. It's like they don't specify, they don't make it very clear what their intentions are, so...
I think it's because they don't want to...
dig a hole for themselves.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't want to look like the bad guy and say, no, you can't have that character. They almost want to keep it, hidden underneath it, no, we're not going to put this charter in. Because we'll get to that other character in a little bit.
You gotta uphold the basic rules of your game. Come on, guys. Telling people Goku's not going to be a thing is not them being the bad guy. It's them adhering to the basic rules of who can be in Smash Brothers or
You
not.
got to set limits somewhere. Otherwise, there's really not going to be any structure or order in this.
Which also brings up the first question, why do you think they did this in the first place? Because I think I have a couple of explanations for that, but what do you guys think?
I'm honestly pretty baffled that they're doing this because I just feel bad for Sakurai. I mean, like, after the game came out, I was so sure that he's like, okay, I'm going on like a year-long vacation. No one will hear from me. I'll be like on a private island. But then, no, then they're doing Mewtwo, and then they're doing Lucas, and now they're doing the Ballot. So I'm starting to think that it's less that Sakurai was wanting to do this, and more that Nintendo itself was really pushing for this because they saw how popular Smash was. They saw how popular the DLC for Mario Kart 8 was. And they're like, hey, we got a good thing going here, so let's get more characters in here, and let's find out what characters people want. So I think it's more of Nintendo wanting more money.
It's Nintendo being a business, and from a business standpoint, they would be fools not to capitalize on the DLC thing, because Smash Brothers is a walking hype machine and a walking money machine. They would have,
definitely,
as a business,
especially this time around.
As a business, Nintendo would have to be collective fools not to capitalize on that. I know we don't necessarily want to hear it. I know a lot of the people of gaming generations past aren't too keen on the whole DLC thing because it's just a way of nickel and diming players most of the time. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I can honestly see it because of this. I have to think right now, Nintendo has to be paying Sakurai so much yen right now. It is not funny.
He better be.
He better be getting this much money, man. Because he should be done. And I also have to think, no matter how tired he is of Smash right now, he's got to work. So if he's not working on another game, if he doesn't have another project lined up, why not continue this? Another reason why I think he's doing this is because he's looking at his philosophy again. He's always trying to think of Smash Brothers as the last one he's going to work on. So from his perspective, he's thinking, like, if this is my last one, I'm going out on a bang and really giving the fans what they want. Their most requested character.
It seems like he's really trying to be a man of his word this time by making this really his big final Smash Brothers game by putting as much content into it as he possibly can. So that makes sense to me.
Even though we know this, in the long run, this will not be the last Smash Brothers game.
Definitely not. On the next Nintendo console, there will be another Smash Brothers, whether Sakurai is involved or not.
Speculation for Smash NX begin in 5 years.
Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U 2.
They're not.
Oh God! Please don't let Nintendo hear this. They might actually call it that.
Don't. After the stumbling that was the naming of the Wii U, I really hope they don't do that again.
You don't need to fall into that pitfall again.
Please don't. But honestly, a lot of people were excited about the Ballot, but I was really nervous about it at the start because, you think about the implications of it. Like they're basically forcing Sakurai to do more work on a game that he clearly kind of wants to be.
He frankly doesn't want to work on it anymore.
He's wanting to be done with it. I can now see why he and Hideo Kojima are friends. Well, it's true. Hideo Kojima
it is. I'm not denying it.
And they're both trolls, right? They're both really good trolls.
This is very true.
Yes.
Separated at birth.
If Hideo Kojima is Hazama, Sakurai is Hades.
Yes.
I noticed right out of the gate that a lot of people were spamming votes for multiple characters on the ballot, but what a lot of them didn't know was that only your last one counts. And when I saw a lot of people do that, I thought, okay, basically your requests are going to get ignored, and that's going to screw with the statistics and the way this thing goes down.
Because it's like even my friends were already saying, "Oh, I'm going to vote for this character," and I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, I have a feeling it's only going to be like one vote that actually counts. I don't think they're going to let you stuff ballots in like this.
I know. I was so worried about how chaotic this was really going to be because I've heard people saying that they were going to go into like Best Buy and Verizon and vote on their computers, and it's like, yeah, you're kind of cheating, but then what's to stop someone else from going in and rewriting their votes?
Yeah,
so
Nintendo said on the ballot page, vote for only one character, and well, I sort of cheated and did too, but I did it from different devices and on different networks.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be respectful and only cast one vote, but I'm actually going to wait until the near end of the ballot before I make my vote. I want to see how things are playing out.
I've kind of already made my vote, but I gave it a lot of thought, and I ultimately changed my vote. So I voted again, but that was mainly just to change my vote because there was the other character I decided I wanted more.
All right.
All right.
We're going to discuss our character votes at the end of this discussion, right?
Yeah, I won't bring it up now.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to save mine for later, too. But another thing that I was nervous about, and this is just a personal thing, but you know what a ballot means. Character discussion flares up again. More flame wars all day on Smash.
Just when you thought we could all be finally done with this without the games out. Heck no.
I mean, I was a Ridley supporter in the pre-release period for Smash 4, so I've had my fair share of flame wars, and I've had enough to last a lifetime.
We've all been there.
Ditto. Speaking of which, I'm kind of glad that I haven't really seen, like, smear campaigns yet. Like,
Oh, goodness.
No. If I do see that, I want them to be comical. I want them to be something like, King K. Rool is going to raise the taxes by 10 bananas a day. Vote for Ridley. He didn't kill your parents.
Oh, I have a feeling that'll come eventually. I've already seen so many, meme posts and everything of people making jokes about who they're voting for, and I feel like that's just the next inevitable step, where people are just going to be doing stuff like that to try and sabotage each other's characters.
Yeah, I just want it to be funny, though. I don't want it to be mean or cruel-spirited. I just
Yeah.
want it to be hilarious.
I think it would be. I think there are a lot of really comedically creative people on the internet, so I think it could happen.
At least make it satire of actual political ads.
Yeah.
Oh
Those are
my
always a
gosh,
good time.
yes.
Those are always a good time.
So, after waiting about 2 weeks to see some of our early results, we've kind of got an idea of who's in the lead. Kind of. These are not guaranteed actual votes from everyone. I mean, there could be a silent majority of people who haven't voted yet, and so they haven't gone on these polls and said who they voted for. So, with that said, here's an idea of what we've got. So far in the lead, our #1 first-party character in the long running is, I'm gonna have to warm up my vocal cords, King K. Rool.
Yes!
Oh yeah.
Alright, I should have brought this up earlier, but when we talk about these characters, do you guys have a tagline or a punchline for them yet?
I do not, sadly. Sorry.
Okay,
Nope.
I only have one tagline that can work for K. Rool. It's kind of stretching it here, but his tagline has to be, K. Rool has his finest hour.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh god, yes. Please make this a thing.
Because if they can take Mewtwo Strikes Back from a non-canon source, you have to do the same thing for K. Rool. Plus, if you go on Smashboards and you look at the supporters for the K. Rool Cutthroat Gremlings, it's right there that says, King K. Rool will have his finest hour.
Make this a thing, please.
Please make this a thing. I've still, I can't get over the fact that they actually use Strikes Back from YouTube, so please make this a thing.
I'm going to put this up. Hopefully, the idea spreads.
Nintendo, I know you watch CJ's videos.
That's why you put in so much stuff that he wants and predicts. You have to be watching.
So, when we get to K. Rool, I can't believe how much support he's getting. He's not only getting support from all the fans, but Playtonic! Playtonic is actually supporting him! I love it!
Okay, I'm sorry, who is that?
Playtonic, they are the ex-Rare developers who are doing Project Ukulele.
Oh my god.
Okay.
They actually put it on their Twitter. They're like, you know what, screw it. Let's put another of our characters in there that we would like to see in Smash. Vote for King K. Rool.
It's so funny. I feel like before Smash Wii U came out, it seemed like people were so mixed on K. Rool. Like, either there was the few people who wanted him, but then most people were like, no, we'd rather have Dixie, or, oh, no, he's not relevant or anything. And now, it's like #1, like, everybody's agreeing, yeah, let's put him in, he needs to be in. So it's just so funny how things have changed.
Well, it's because relevance now has absolutely no argument in this at all.
No, there's
Exactly. So many of the arguments have been debunked.
Brawlmaster, were you and I looking at the same fandom? Because from where I was standing, pretty much everybody agreed that there needed to be a Donkey Kong character, and it was pretty split evenly between King K. Rool and Dixie Kong.
No, he said that. He said that.
But now I noticed that with the ballot oncoming, King K. Rool's support has shot up immensely, while Dixie's has kind of dropped.
Oh my, I love this. I don't think you guys have seen this. I've actually been checking the Smash boards on this, but oh man, I love this. Somebody put in a vote for King K. Rool, and it went like this. The person was female, and then it said the character you're voting for. It said Dixie Kong, and then crossed off and said King K. Rool. And then in the comment it said, Dear Mr. Sakurai, I am very sad. As of now, our Dixie Kong support has been overthrown and replaced with the benevolent King K. Rool. All hail King K. Rool and his glorious return to Smash. Sincerely, Little Girl. This comes from The Simpsons. It's actually my favorite Simpsons episode. If you know that episode, let me know in the comments.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. I love it so much. But I think a lot of people are agreeing with King K. Rool because A, we want a new villain.
Oh my goodness, please!
New villain, please. And Dark Pit does not count.
No, he doesn't count at all.
Edgy Pit does not count for anything.
Ow, the edge.
How do you become the butt of more Al the Edge jokes than the progenitor of Al the Edge jokes? How do you do that?
Okay, so let's kind of theorize a bit with King K. Rool. Now, a lot of people are saying, like, he'd just be another heavyweight character, and a lot of people are saying, so what? But
Boot to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what can they do with King K. Rool that would be different? And I'm thinking maybe he could be a fast heavyweight character who could jump high, but his attacks
in his boss fights.
But his attacks wouldn't be that strong. Like, he'd be the weakest heavyweight fighter.
That would be interesting. A heavyweight fighter who isn't that strong.
How would you compensate for that with, like, kill power? Would he be more combo-oriented?
Maybe. I mean, he'd have to have a few kill moves, because I think if you don't have at least one kill move, your character is dead. But
maybe he'd be a little more projectile-oriented, cannonballs and all that good stuff.
That's what I'm worried about, and I'll get to that in a bit. But one thing I really want to see with King K. Rool, I would love this. Please make this a thing if he gets in. When you push down, I want him to pretend like he's playing possum.
Yes.
And I want, if you do it for long enough, he'll open up one of his eyes to look around. I want that.
That'd be a nice touch.
It even brings that up in his Melee or his Brawl trophy, where he says he's really good at playing dead.
Yeah, there you go.
And can I talk about the whole K. Rool's another heavyweight, so boo to that? Why don't you go shout down Greninja for being another ninja-like character when we already have Sheik?
It's not bad to have more than one type of character.
As long as they're different, and they can be different. I think it's just because the people don't really know the character all that well.
Yeah,
that's the real problem. And K. Rool brings so much to the table, and I think his visual expressions could be just as great, if not better, than King Dedede and DK's. Because
he's a Mad Dr. Boxer Pirate King. How do you not make a good moveset out of that?
You can't. However, I will have to ask, using the blunderbuss, the weapon he had in Donkey Kong Country 2, that's what kind of worries me, because we haven't really had a character in Smash that was able to take out a weapon bigger than them out of thin air. I mean, yeah, characters do that all the time with certain little things, but for like a side special, how do you animate that? Like, I don't know, maybe if he could just like take the cannonball and throw them, that would be a different thing. Like, at least I understand that the cannonballs come from something. Like it was a representative of his moves from the old games, but I don't know. It just seems like you have to incorporate so many things from him that it almost feels like it's overwhelming at times. But
I'll just sleep on
a little bit. I mean, like, I don't think like the size of the weapon is really an issue, because I mean, look at Snake and Brawl. He would pull out like an RPG for his side smash, and it seemed to work just fine. So I'm not sure.
For an up smash.
Exactly. He pulls out all these crazy weapons out of midair.
Okay, good. So I don't have to worry about that argument.
I think they could make it work.
Alright, so I think there's a lot that they really can do with King K. Rool. He just looks so interesting. It'd be a really comical character. He's kind of a retro character now, so...
Borderline example? I mean, he's no more retro than Ganondorf really is, sorta.
Oh, he's way more retro than him, because Ganondorf didn't even come from the Super Nintendo. I mean, he was mentioned, but he wasn't there.
Well, I mean, if you don't count Ganon.
Oh, yeah.
This is just... I haven't thought about this stuff in a long time. I don't really care to. Ganondorf's a thing. King K. Rool's a thing. Put them both together. Make all the villains happy. Come on.
I mean, we need another DK character because he's a huge, important part of Nintendo's history. We need another villain because we just love playing with the villains, and it just seems like there's so few. King K. Rool just fits this spot so well. There's really no good argument against it. Relevancy was the only thing you had, and now with the Smash Ballot, you don't have that argument anymore. You don't.
You can add it. You can request anyone, regardless of how new or old the character is. So it really doesn't matter anymore.
I feel like about all that really matters is how popular they are and how well would they work as a fighter. And like,
So, before we move on to the next character, do you have any closing comments for King K. Rool?
I voted for him.
He's one of the characters I'd want.
He's one of only 2 people that I really care about at this point.
I mean, I'm all for more villains in Smash Brothers, and I think he would work just fine next to Bowser and DDD. I think it'd look really cool.
I mean, when I first did that list years ago with the 10 characters I really wanted, K. Rool was so low on my list because I didn't feel like they really were going to put him in. I've been burned by it so many times I didn't have the high expectations, even though I really wanted him. But after seeing the Kremlings in Smash Run, my expectations skyrocketed. That's what changed everything. So, I've always been supportive of K. Rool getting in Smash. I'm really hoping he gets in one way or the other, especially as a playable character. I'm not entirely sure if they would actually use all his different costumes as his alternates because he only has 5. So, we'll see what happens there.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Indeed, we shall.